What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, what really moved it, and what shorts did today. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi went down 1.38%, 14.92 the low, 15.99 the high. So it did want to move higher with a broader market. So as soon as the market opened, it just went higher. Of course, that is linked to GDP. So GDP came in better than anticipated. So 3.1 the actual versus 2.8 the forecast. So very good stuff in that regard. But you still did have a level of hesitation today. And so you had abnormally low volume for SoFi and just across the board. So 43.3 million for that, 52.9 is the average. And you had a lot of hesitation because of PCE. So a lot of analysts are starting to say that PCE tomorrow is going to be prompting a lot of volatility. So if, for instance, it comes in hotter than anticipated, anticipate another significant pullback similar to what happened on Wednesday, because that's kind of piggybacking off of what Powell even said on Wednesday. But if it comes in better, then you'll see a very nice relief rally. So regardless, anticipate a lot of volatility all in all. No actual news associated to SoFi itself. There was a lot of Form 4s that was submitted after hours yesterday that I didn't really talk on because it was after my video, but you also had a 144 today. So a lot of selling, and that isn't just happening with SoFi, it's happening across the board. A lot of stocks, even Palantir, SoundHound, a couple other stocks, a lot of their insiders are selling, and that's because you do have a blackout period commencing in roughly around a week and a bit. So as soon as the year ends, they are kind of barred from selling unless it's kind of planned ahead of time through that 10B/5 plan, but essentially you did have a lot of selling. So the 144 today was this. So Jeremy sold 64,000 shares. That was done today, and this is the individual on a side note that is going through the divorce. So he just recently sold, I believe, on the 16th as well. Aside from that, you have a lot of Form 4s. So it shows as well the newest transaction on the 18th. So a lot of selling for tax purposes. So transaction code F. So nothing really to worry about in my opinion. So you had one here, another transaction code F. So it looks like there was this restricted stock, so it got released, and then transaction code F. Same goes for Anthony, same boat for that. You also had Christopher Lapointe and then Kelly. So yeah, a lot of different transactions, but in my opinion, majority aren't really something to worry about. Possibly Jeremy, but I think they have some actual justified circumstances. Moving over to shorts, let's go over that. This is NEO. You guys don't care about NEO, but as far as SoFi shorts, they did return 890,000 shares. 12.41% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 132.22 million shares overall are being shorted. So this is why I like to analyze this type of information, because by it being red today and then returning, they're freeing up some room. So they kind of don't really see today's sell-off, or I wouldn't call today a sell-off, but today's pullback justified. So again, that's kind of a good thing. I do post on a lot of different platforms this type of information, and just generally doing a quick sweep, you see a lot of big transactions. This is all oriented based on the bull options. So you have Tesla, a lot of big names here. A lot of puts are being sold. So if you don't know options, that does mean across the board, a lot of big money is betting that the market is going to move higher tomorrow. So that's again something just to kind of keep in mind. So maybe shorts are taking advantage of today's red day and freeing up some room, like I said, but as I've brought up in the past, there's in excess of 10 million shares available to be shorted. So if shorts really did feel that SoFi was overvalued and ready to just go down significantly, they have more than enough ammunition to really double down. But aside from that, looking at options, 27 million in calls, 10 million in puts. So dollar value wise, a little bit on the low end. And this is the first time in almost like a week that the sentiment was majority bearish. So 45% of all the options in nature were bearish today. There was a big one right here, so 1.9 million just between 12.15 and 12.20. If we kind of pull this up, just randomly looking at this, so a lot of different transactions, but you have most likely looks like a multi-leg transaction, more oriented towards it being bullish. So it looks like some $16 puts were sold. So once again, kind of follows with what I was saying on a lot of, I guess, larger scope, because this had a lot of big transactions, like 6 million, like a lot of big money is selling puts. So same goes for SoFi. So it looks like some entities were doing that, and also more of a bearish transaction, so they were also buying puts. So kind of doing, like I said, a little bit of a hedge there. But aside from that, of the call options that are being purchased, you still see a consensus for it to be above $17 for at least the next little bit. Couple bullish ones as well, so still for $20 at right here, January 17th, 2025. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub, looks like around $14.50 to $15, so still a lot more upside is anticipated. And I'll give you a quick overview of this. So this is what the open interest looks like, because of course tomorrow being Friday, this could come into play, coming from just manipulation from shorts as well as market makers. So right now, with it hovering around that $15 range, you have 10,000 at that $15 strike price, 6,000 at that $15.50, 18,000 at that 16, and then 46,000 at that 17. So of course you might see them try to suppress it below that 15, but nothing really crazy to write home about. But aside from that though, these are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So a big one right here, 34.8, 12.8. A lot of this was near the end of the day, so selling transactions, 7.1. And you have some spots right here of actual buying, typically first thing. But, and also on a side note, this was that string that did really, a string of buying that kind of pushed it higher. But aside from that, just rather low volume in comparison to a normal day. With it closing at 15.03, it is trading now between this S2 and this S3. So 1461 is going to be that next strong support. Flip side, 1512, 1544, and then 1596 are going to be the following resistance levels. As I mentioned in my video yesterday, I guess my face was regrettably in the way, but this point right here of $14.38, that is going to be that make it or break it point, because if it does break below that, then you'll have the algorithms really working against SoFi and causing more pain, possibly even enough to that right here, that 50-day moving average. So it will all come back down onto the data points. So PCE tomorrow is going to be a very big deal. Could either push it below this point or could cause it to get back above that ALMA, and once again, maybe a new 52-week high. I think a lot of people are still trying to analyze what Powell said, because I guess it all depends on if you're optimistic in the broader market or bearish, because right now the bears, I think, are kind of winning the sentiment, because they're focusing on the fact that there was less cuts anticipated and higher inflation anticipated. So people are spooked by that. But a lot of optimistic analysts are saying, hey, Powell said that the data is good, the economy is strong, which I have been saying a lot. Like, if you look at a lot of the data points, even GDP that came out today, everything does signify that, yeah, the economy is relatively strong. So even if inflation does go up a little bit, it's nothing really to panic significantly over. So I think tomorrow will be a lot of volatility, kind of the battle of just the broader market sentiment, if that makes sense. And SoFi and just many stocks are going to be stuck in between. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Where do you see things going in the next couple trading days? And are you buying? Are you selling? I'm really glad when it did dip yesterday that I was able to sell some puts, because at that time the premium was absolutely insane. Of course, it goes down every day and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I love selling puts. It makes a lot of easy money if it does expire. And I do it on stocks that I don't mind owning in general. So let me know your thoughts. And then one final thing I just wanted to share with you, though, I did launch a Patreon. So pop over there to take a look at a lot of my buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. I try to put out at least 2 every single day. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.